about you?
Hello to your faces. Welcome back. The Epstein cover-up has been in operation for years, and I'm about to expose it. Buckle up, Buttercup, we doing this. Woohoo! Let's go. Richard Kahn, less than Richard Kahn, greater than to Jeffrey E. April 30th, 2018, 5:51 p.m. 15. Great call on Iran. Richard Kahn, FBReels Associates Inc. Official Document Identification Number, Odin, FDA 008186117. The first video we have is a cute kitten jumping into a cardboard box. Normally this would be cute, but hearing young children in the background is horrifying. The fact is, this kitten is being used as a prop in his sick and twisted mind to lure children. Next, we have a personal home video found on Jeffrey Epstein's Google Drive. It seems to be quite stormy on the island in this video. When you see the island like this, you can see just how big it really is in photos and footage. It is always focused on the main area, but the fact you have to use an ATV just to roam the island just shows it must have been terrifying trying to plan an escape, as a few victims have disclosed they had tried but failed. You can see for yourself as a teenage girl that has been trafficked to this island to do only them and God knows what, and with me. Imagine being trapped here alone, not knowing where you are, and even if you escaped, you're stranded. And it has been confirmed that all the staff, visitors, and victims were all given watches and other gifts that had GPS tracking installed in them and were being monitored by security. This was confirmed by victim Sarah Ransom, that she tried to escape but was instantly found by security and taken back to Jeffrey Epstein. This document I found was suspicious. It seems to be officers of United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York, USANYS, as they are referred to in these files. From USANYS 1111, redacted. Sent. Monday, June 28, 2021, 5:02 p.m. to USANYS, redacted. CCUSANYS, USANYS, U redacted. Subject. Stein. Report of autopsy. Please find attached the OCME report of autopsy. The boxes show where there will be redactions. Thanks, redacted. Assistant United States Attorney, 300 Quorapah Street, White Plains, New York, 10601. From USANYS, redacted. Sent. Tuesday, June 29, 2021, 3:45 p.m. to USANYS, redacted. CC. USANYS, redacted. USANYS, redacted. Subject. R.E. Epstein FOIA. OCME report of autopsy. IND. I spoke with the GC of OCME, who appreciated the heads up. One note for you all. The photo of the hyoid bone on page 12 is in fact Epstein's hyoid bone. To the extent we're redacting the close-up photos from page 13, shouldn't we also redact the entire photo on page 12? Thanks. Sent. Tuesday, June 29, 2021, 6:46 p.m. Sent. USANYS, redacted. To USANYS, redacted. CC. USANYS, redacted. Subject. R.E. Epstein FOIA. OCME report of autopsy. Thanks. Yes, we will ask BOP to redact that photo as well. Redacted. From USANYS, redacted. Sent. Wednesday, June 30th, 2021, 12:34 p.m. to USANYS, redacted. CC. USANYS, redacted. USANYS, redacted. Subject. R.E. Epstein FOIA. OCME report of autopsy. USANYS, redacted. OCME asked whether we could send them a copy of the redacted autopsy report. Could you please send me a copy of it on Friday so I can forward to them? Thank you. From USANYS, redacted. Sent. Friday, July 2nd, 2021, 3:12 p.m. to USANYS, redacted. CC. USANYS, redacted. USANYS, redacted. Subject. R.E. Epstein FOIA. OCME report of autopsy. USANYS, redacted. Here's the redacted autopsy report, included in the release to the Times. Thanks. From USANYS, redacted. To USANYS, redacted. CC. USANYS, redacted. USANYS, redacted. Subject: R.E. Epstein FOIA. OCME report of autopsy. Date: Friday the 2nd of July 2021, 19 hours 12 minutes and 28 seconds. Thanks. Official document information: FDA 000100417 and EFTA 000100418. Independent Epstein Victims Compensation Program. Protocol. May 29, 2020. Purpose and overview. The Epstein Victims Compensation Program, the program, is a voluntary, independent program that has been established to compensate and resolve the claims of victim survivors of sexual abuse by Jeffrey Epstein. The estate of Jeffrey E. Stein, the estate, has retained the services of nationally recognized claims administration experts and redacted to design the program. Will also serve as the administrator of the program. The administrator. This protocol reflects input from victim survivors, their lawyers, other potentially interested parties, and representatives of the estate. Through the program, the estate wishes to acknowledge the wrongs endured by victim survivors and offer them an opportunity to voluntarily resolve their individual claims for such sexual abuse. The program is governed by the following non-exclusive guiding principles. The program is purely voluntary. It does not affect any rights a claimant may have unless and until the claimant accepts the offered compensation and executes a release. A claimant may reject the offer of compensation and may stop participating in the program and withdraw the claim at any time prior to execution of the release. The program is independent and will in no way be administered, controlled, or overseen by the estate. The administrator is responsible for all decisions relating to the review, processing, and evaluation of individual claims submitted to the program. The administrator will have final, binding and exclusive authority to determine claimant eligibility and the valuation of each eligible individual claim. Decisions of the administrator made pursuant to this protocol are not subject to review or modification in any way by the estate or any other party or entity. There is no cap or limitation on the aggregate amount of funds available to compensate all eligible claimants, or on the amount of compensation to be made to each individual claimant. Each individual claim will be evaluated separately by the administrator. The administrator will determine, in her sole and exclusive discretion, issues of eligibility and the amount of compensation, and the estate will pay all eligible claims based on the administrator's determination. Page 1. Odin, EFTA 000100052. All claimants will be treated with respect, dignity, and fairness without regard to race, color, S6, sexual orientation, national origin, religion, gender, or disability. To ensure claims will be adjudicated fairly, the administrator will manage the process so that all claimants can equally access the program's claim process. Individuals with disabilities will be given the opportunity to effectively communicate their claims and to request special process accommodations. The program is available to all victim survivors, regardless of where they were harmed, when they were harmed, whether the claim is time-barred by the applicable statute of limitations, and whether they have previously filed a lawsuit against or settled with Epstein and/or the estate. The exclusive claims period for filing a claim pursuant to this protocol shall commence on the to-be-determined effective date and shall conclude 9 months after that date, filing deadline. All individual claims filed with the program must be filed within this period. To complement the program's resources, the administrator will, at her discretion and with the consent of the claimant, consult with Professor, a nationally recognized S6-8 bus expert, leading legal academic and advocate of victims' rights. Ms. Role will be to further inform the administrator and her staff about the dynamics of S6-8 bus, common responses to sexual 8 bus, and the impact of S6-8 bus on victims, to serve as a resource for the administrator in developing or updating policies and procedures, to advise the administrator regarding sensitivities involved in interactions with victims, and to serve as a referral source for the administrator in providing post-determination information to claimants who seek guidance, counseling, or other services. The administrator may, at her discretion and with the claimant's prior written consent, request that Ms. Redacted review an individual claimant file. The administrator will determine on a case-by-case basis, in her discretion, the need to anonymize individual claimants' files before sharing them with Ms. Redacted. As set forth above, the administrator is solely responsible for all decisions relating to the administration of the program, including the review, processing, evaluation, and determination of individual claims submitted to the program. During the term of the program, Ms. Redacted will not meet or speak with the claim representatives concerning any aspect of the program without the administrator present. Redacted will maintain in strict confidence and will not disclose outside the program any information she obtains through her participation in the program, including individual claimant submissions. Page 2. Odin, EFTA 000100053. 2. Eligibility requirements. A. Eligibility criteria. The persons eligible to participate in this program are individuals who allege they were sexually abused by Epstein. In addition, the following criteria apply. The claim of sexual abuse must be directed against Epstein. An individual whose claim is time-barred by the applicable statute of limitations may participate in the program provided that other eligibility criteria are met. An individual who previously entered into a settlement agreement resolving a claim of S6 Shul 8 bus against Epstein may participate in the program, provided that other eligibility criteria are met. An individual who allegedly assisted Epstein in procuring other victim survivors may participate in the program, where there is a credible basis to determine that the individual acted under duress as a result of her own S6 Shul 8 bus by Epstein, provided that other eligibility criteria are met. If the claimant chooses to accept the offered compensation, the claimant must dismiss with prejudice any existing lawsuits, legal actions or claims filed against the estate or related entities and/or related individuals. The claimant must provide proof of such dismissal along with or prior to the signed acceptance of the compensation determination offer letter and executed release in order to receive payment. B. Legal representatives of claimants. An individual may file a claim on a victim's behalf where that individual has been granted legal authority to act in a representative capacity pursuant to appropriate law. The legal representative of an individual claimant shall mean: 1. In the case of a claimant who is currently a minor, a parent or legal guardian authorized by law to serve as the minor's legal representative. 2. In the case of an incompetent or legally incapacitated claimant, a person who has been duly appointed as the claimant's legal representative in accordance with the claimant's estate by a court of competent jurisdiction and is authorized to file and compromise a claim. Or, an attorney authorized to represent the claimant for purposes of pursuing a claim through this program. Legal representatives must provide proper documentation demonstrating representative capacity. Such proof may include a power of attorney, documentation showing the individual's appointment as guardian or guardian ad litem, documentation showing the individual's appointment as personal representative of the claimant's estate, such as letters of administration, a copy of a retainer. Page 3. Odin, EFTA 000100054. Agreement showing legal representation signed by both the claimant and the attorney, or a signed statement by an adult claimant and the attorney that a licensed/admitted attorney is acting on her behalf. 3. Claims administration, submission, evaluation and determination. A. Claims submission process. Individuals who have filed a lawsuit, legal action or claim against Epstein and/or the estate, or have otherwise been identified as a victim of Epstein by their attorney to the administrator on or before the effective date, will be sent a claim form and other relevant program information, including instructions for completion and submission of the claim form, and a copy of this protocol. Individuals who have filed a lawsuit need not agree to a stay of litigation or make any other concession in any pending litigation to be eligible to participate in the program. Likewise, individuals who have not yet filed a lawsuit remain free to file a lawsuit and engage in litigation concurrently with participation in the program. Individuals must, however, dismiss with prejudice any and all existing lawsuits, legal actions, and claims prior to or at the time of acceptance of a compensation determination offer in order to receive payment. Individuals who have not filed a lawsuit, legal action, or claim against Epstein and/or the estate, or have not otherwise been identified as a victim of Epstein by their attorney to the administrator on or before the effective date, may register to participate in this program on the program's website at www.epsteinvcp.com. To register, such individuals must complete a questionnaire setting forth their name, contact information, a summary description of the nature of the claim, and other requested information. Upon registration, the administrator will perform a preliminary review to consider if the individual is eligible to participate in the program. If the administrator deems that the individual is eligible to participate in the program, she will then send that individual a claim form and other relevant program information. Note: the fact that an individual is sent a claim form and other relevant program information indicates that the administrator has determined that such individual is eligible to participate in the program. It does not indicate that the administrator has determined that such individual is eligible to receive compensation. That determination is made only after a claim form and all required documentation has been submitted and evaluated by the administrator. Registrations for individuals who have not filed a lawsuit, legal action, or claim against Epstein and/or the estate, or have not otherwise been identified as a victim of Jeffrey Epstein by their attorney to the administrator on or before the effective date will be accepted by the administrator from the effective date through a date that is 45 days prior to the filing deadline, registration deadline. It is important to note that the registration deadline is separate from and precedes the filing deadline. As explained above, all claims must be filed by the filing deadline. Page 4. Odin, EFTA 00010055. All claim forms must be completed to the best of a claimant's ability and filed no later than the filing deadline. Claim forms should be uploaded to the program website at www.epsteinvcp.com or mailed via overnight courier. A prepaid courier voucher will be included with each packet. To the administrator at the following address: Epstein Victims Compensation Program, ATTN, redacted, Administrator, 1050 Connecticut Avenue, Northwest, number 65488, Washington, District of Columbia, 20035. Claimants are invited to provide documentation identified in the claim form and any other corroborating or supporting information sufficient to substantiate the claim, satisfy eligibility requirements, and allow the administrator to review, process, and evaluate the claim. If the claim is being presented by a legal representative, then the legal representative will be responsible for submitting the necessary documentation relating to the represented claimant. Additional documentation may be requested at the discretion of the administrator. Both the claimant and the estate will be afforded the opportunity to submit to the administrator any information deemed relevant to the administrator's evaluation and determination of the claim before the administrator's final disposition of the claim. If a claimant submits an incomplete or deficient claim, the administrator will notify the claimant, explain the additional information that is needed, and work with the claimant or the claimant's legal representative, where applicable, to assist in submitting a complete claim. B. Claims evaluation and determination. Claims will be evaluated in the order in which they are received, with the administrator evaluating each submitted individual claim in a prompt and fair manner. Claims will only be determined once all required documentation has been submitted to the administrator, with due consideration granted to claimants' good faith explanations for delays and/or absence of documentation. 1. Factors considered in evaluating claims. As to each individual claim, the administrator will determine, in her sole discretion based upon all of the information available, whether the allegations of sexual 8 bus are credible. The administrator will consider appropriate factors and corroborative support, including but not limited to the level of documentation, corroboration, or other circumstantial evidence regarding the nature and extent of the abuse, the frequency, location, and other details of the abuse, and the age of the victim at the time of the abuse. Non-exhaustive examples of such evidence include I. Medical or psychiatric counseling/therapy records relevant to the abuse, and 2. Contemporaneous written notification or other correspondence, e.g., letters, emails, of the abuse by the claimant to law enforcement authorities, parents, friends, or others. Page 5. Odin, EFTA 00010056. Administrator acknowledges that some claimants may not be able to provide any documentation to corroborate their claim based on the nature and circumstances of Epstein's conduct. If a claimant's written and oral presentation is deemed to be credible by the administrator, the claimant may still be eligible for compensation under the program. Whether there exists any information and/or pertinent findings offered by the appropriate office of the district attorney, United States Attorney's Office, or other law enforcement agency. Whether the administrator finds the claims of the individual to be credible after complete review of all relevant documentation and other evidence provided by the claimant and the estate. As to each individual claim, the administrator will determine, in her sole discretion based upon all of the information available, the amount of compensation that should be offered to each eligible claimant. The administrator will consider appropriate factors and corroborative support, including but not limited to the nature, duration, and extent of the sexual 8 bus suffered by the claimant, the age of the claimant at the time of the sexual 8 bus, the nature and extent of the claimant's physical or psychological damage resulting from the sexual 8 bus, and the effect of the sexual 8 bus on the claimant, the credibility of the claim based upon all of the facts and circumstances, supporting documentation, and corroborating evidence. Whether the claimant previously entered into a settlement agreement with Epstein and received a payment pursuant to such agreement. The administrator will confidentially send the claimant a compensation determination offer letter including the following. 1. The administrator's eligibility decision regarding the claim. 2. The amount of compensation offered. 3. A release to be signed by the claimant if the claimant accepts the offered compensation. And 4. A payment option form. The administrator's offer shall be valid for 60 days from the date of the compensation determination offer letter. The administrator's determinations in this program will not be binding on any potential criminal investigation involving claimant's claims. 2. Opportunities to be heard. The claimant will be afforded an opportunity to be heard, either before or after the administrator renders her determination. Upon request by the claimant, the administrator will be available to meet in person, as practicable in light of the COVID-19 pandemic, by video conference, or by teleconference to Page 6, Odin, FDA 00010057. Further discuss the claim. These meetings are completely optional and voluntary. Requests to meet with the administrator should be sent by email to claimantservices@epsteinvcp.com and will be scheduled at a mutually convenient time and location. The administrator may also request a meeting with a claimant or her legal representative at a reasonable mutually convenient time and location, though the claimant is not obligated to attend any such meeting. 3. Release. By submitting a claim to the program, a claimant is seeking to resolve all claims relating to allegations of S-sexual 8 bus against Epstein and/or the estate, and related entities and individuals as set forth in the release. If a claimant chooses to accept the offer of compensation pursuant to the program, the claimant will be required to sign and execute a full release, in a form satisfactory to the estate, of all past and future claims, including pendants, writs of attachment, etc., relating to such allegations of S-sexual 8 bus against the estate, related entities and/or related individuals. A claimant may reject the offer of compensation and may stop participating in the program and withdraw the claim at any time prior to the execution of the release. The release will waive any rights the claimant and her heirs, descendants, legatees, or beneficiaries may have to assert any claims relating to allegations of S-sexual 8 bus against the estate, related entities and/or related individuals, to file an individual legal action relating to such allegations, or to participate in any civil legal action associated with such allegations, except as a witness. However, the release will not operate to preclude or limit the claimant's ability to report and discuss allegations of S-sexual 8 bus with law enforcement officials, or anyone else. In other words, the release will not impose any rules of confidentiality on claimants, who are expressly permitted to discuss their allegations without restriction, should they choose. Before signing a release, the claimant must consult with an attorney selected by the claimant. If the claimant is not represented by an attorney, the program will provide an attorney to provide free legal counseling to the claimant, for the sole purpose of advising the claimant concerning the language and binding nature of the release. No one affiliated with the program will provide tax or legal advice to those receiving payments under the program. Claimants are urged to consult with a tax advisor concerning any questions regarding tax liability for payments pursuant to the program. 4. Payments. Upon the claimant's acceptance of the administrator's determination, the administrator's receipt of the claimant's executed release and, where applicable, dismissal with prejudice of any existing lawsuit, legal actions or claims against the estate or related entities and/or related individuals, the administrator will initiate payment by check or electronic funds transfer to each eligible claimant as directed by the claimant. Checks will be sent to claimants via overnight courier service. Page 6, Odin, EFTA 00010058. All payments made under the program shall be for claimant's physical injuries, physical sickness, and resulting emotional distress within the meaning of Section 104A of the Internal Revenue Code. See Program Integrity. For the purpose of protecting both the integrity of the program and financial resources for eligible claimants, the administrator will institute all necessary measures to prevent payment of fraudulent claims, including taking steps to verify claims and analyze submissions for inconsistencies, irregularities, or duplication. Each claimant who signs the claim form at the time of submission certifies that the information provided in the claim form is true and accurate to the best of the claimant's knowledge, and that the claimant understands that false statements or claims made in connection with such submission may result in fines, imprisonment, and/or any other remedy available by law. Claims that appear to be potentially fraudulent or to contain information known by the claimant to be false when made will be forwarded to federal, state, or local law enforcement agencies and/or the appropriate office of the district attorney and/or United States Attorney's Office for possible investigation and prosecution. D. Confidentiality/privacy. The program is confidential. 1. By filing a claim with the program, the claimant or her legal representative, where applicable, agrees that information submitted by the claimant pursuant to the program will be used and/or disclosed by the administrator and her designees only for the following purposes. 1. Processing and evaluating the claimant's claim. 2. Administering the program and other program-related work. And 3. Reports to law enforcement where appropriate, related to potentially fraudulent claims. When documents or other information maintained or submitted by the estate become part of a claimant's file for purposes of the program, such materials will be reviewed by the administrator to assist in processing and evaluating the claim, but will otherwise remain confidential. No information provided by claimants will be provided to the estate except for the claimant's name and the dates and locations of the alleged abuse, for the sole purpose of processing and evaluating the claim and, for purposes of the release, the names of any other individuals to whom or by whom the claimant alleges she was trafficked or sexually abused. The estate has agreed that no information obtained solely through the program will be disclosed publicly or used by the estate in defending itself from any claim, regardless of forum. The program's files are not available for inspection, review, or copying by the estate or the claimant or her representatives during or after the program, and all pertinent. All parties agree that they are using the services of a third-party administrator to help reach a resolution of individual claims of sexual abuse, and that this program is entitled to confidentiality, privileges, mediation, settlement, and all other pertinent privileges, and protection from disclosure under applicable law. Page 7. Odin, EFTA 0001-0059. Mediation privileges, settlement privileges, and other privileges apply. To protect the privacy of claimants participating in the program, all personal information provided by the claimant during this process will be returned or destroyed within 1 year after the conclusion of the program. Individual claimants are not bound through the program by any rules of confidentiality. Claimants may, at their sole and voluntary option, disclose information in their possession regarding their claim, their compensation, and their experience with the program. All confidentiality requirements are subject to law, regulation, and judicial process. E-reporting. The administrator shall, on a monthly basis, confidentially provide reports regarding the number and total value of claims paid each month to the Probate Court of the United States Virgin Islands and the Attorney General of the United States Virgin Islands. Such reports will report on an aggregate level only. No individual claimant information will be published or disclosed in a way that compromises claimant confidentiality. Page 8. Odin. EFTA 00010060. End of document. Revolving Light New from Proton. Spring Sale. To celebrate the start of spring, we've launched our very own spring sale, making it the perfect time to upgrade your digital security setup. For a limited time, you, my audience, can enjoy VPN Plus, 65% off, Mail Plus, 40% off, Pass Plus, 50% off, Drive Plus, 40% off. This is a great moment to highlight Proton's privacy and security as part of our spring refresh, whether that's securing accounts, cleaning up digital habits, or upgrading everyday tools. So buy Proton VPN now and use code CEEJAYREACTSMEDIA at checkout to get your spring refresh deal today.